Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. Nice to be with you. I have a short and what may seem to be extremely simple tool to use with a mindful eating practice today. And mindful eating is kind of a funny thing to say, mindful eating. It's like mindful has become to have this word that sounds like a lot of thought, or we're talking about the mind, which seems to be so predominant in a lot of what we do. If you're mindful about something, it means you're thoughtful and you're slowing down and you're paying attention. And I like to think of it more as presence eating, peaceful presence, just being present, presence eating, present to the process. Presence to the process of eating and whatever it is, which is so fascinating, isn't it? When you really think about it, it's kind of a crazy thing. It's taking matter that seems to be outside of you, in the environment, in the universe, a part of all of it, and bringing it into yourself through your mouth, and somehow your body winds up using it as fuel and energy, and it apparently is required for life, for movement. So it's just such an interesting process to sit presently with, really truly feeling the presence of eating. Okay, so the simple thing we can do is also going to sound maybe a little bit too simple and not quite like a little strange. Um, at least for me, when I first heard of this practice, I thought it sounded kind of trite and like, oh, isn't that nice? And that is of being deeply grateful for the bite, for this food that's in front of you. Now, the reason it would have sounded sort of simplistic and difficult and not really like a gratitude is for two reasons for me. One is I first of all thought I should be grateful. I should have gratitude for food and eating. It was in like when you say grace and when you feel enriched by food and when you have a peaceful relationship with it, of course you should feel grateful. And I didn't feel grateful. I had so much angst and agony and warlike feelings about food and eating that I just had no gratitude whatsoever. It was my enemy. Hard to have gratitude for an enemy. So there was that. And I also found that when I was eating, especially out of balance, there was a lack of peace present no matter what. And difficult to have gratitude for some of the foods that were in front of me. I was supposed to be liking certain foods and including those and leaving out others and not including those. So let's just, setting any of that aside, considering the depth of gratitude, even though it sounds so simple, so like almost too simple, you can practice today bringing a sense of gratitude into at least one bite. I mean, what if all of a sudden you just felt grateful for the meal in front of you or for the food, even if it's quote unquote junk food, even if it's supposedly supposed to be something that's bad? If you just feel grateful for its presence and maybe even grateful for all the foods you've ever chosen and eaten that you've consumed even when you are not hungry, or all those foods that you've eaten like out of a sense of starvation and dieting and limiting and restricting and constricting yourself. I ate foods like chicken broth and raw broccoli. Not that that's a terrible thing, but like plain and oh, I don't know, some of these diet foods, only grapefruit for half a day that I didn't even really like that much. I certainly didn't have gratitude for in the moment, like actually slowing down and tasting every bite or whatever it is that you do naturally when you feel grateful for something. And I would just slow down instead of like, so don't even use this as a should, because if you have in your mind that you should be grateful and you should have gratitude, it's just going to cause resentment or guilt. So that is not what we're bringing in here. It's just noticing if I were willing to experience appreciation for this bite of food. I can find an example of that for all the foods that I picked out of desperation, not knowing anything else to do except for to eat like a crazy person. I wanted to eat for comfort, for soothing, as a distraction, to make myself calm down, to stop feeling crazy about other stuff, to express my anger, I would eat, to express happiness, I would eat. It just became a funnel for expressing a huge, enormous amount of emotional life and how to like sort of take things out on food. And it just became an act of what I would do when I felt desperate and sad and lonely and empty and fearful. It was kind of my process addiction for escaping. So I feel grateful now, even for all those years and all those times that I was like that with food. Who knows? Maybe it saved me from some other kind of madness. I don't know. I just know that it exists in reality. My disordered eating existed in reality, and it had a function, you know? It served in some way, like a broken winged bird or a broken legged human being, broken emotionally somehow. So today, I love remembering even one bite. You do not have to eat the entire meal. You don't have to have every single bite be this expression of joyful gratitude. It's just noticing, oh my gosh, this is so amazing to even be in the presence of this food that I get to consume. You know, taking it in, chomping it up, chewing it down so that it becomes something that my body can incorporate into itself. No matter what I've chosen, no matter what I've chosen. Appreciation for this thing called food and that I'm a human being able to live in this moment needing to eat for whatever reason. So just see if you can find one bite today that you can be grateful for. Just grateful for something about that bite. And it is not a have to. I just notice there's such a slowed down sense of peace and joy in appreciating that food. So much sweetness in appreciating. So much presence. So much presence. Who doesn't want that when it comes to wacky eating? That's what we're looking for, and it's available as I appreciate. All right, let me know how it goes. Bye, everybody.